Hello, and welcome to a look inside the Army HBCU-MI program, a webinar hosted by the Army HBCU-MI Student Program for Army Research and Knowledge, or SPARK. Today's webinar, a look inside the Army HBCU-MI program, provides an in-depth look at how the Army Research Laboratory and the Army Research Office are strengthening engagement with historically Black colleges and universities and minority serving institutions. This session is designed to give faculty, staff, and institutional leaders a clearer understanding of the Army's strategic approach to outreach, research collaboration, and the development of long-term partnerships across academia. We are pleased to welcome today's distinguished speakers, Dr. Valen Emery, Outreach Program Manager with DevCom Army Research Laboratory, and Ms. Ivory Cheney, Program Manager for Educational Outreach and the National Defense Science and Engineering Graduate Fellowship within the Extramural Cross-Competency Program Integration Branch at the DevCom Army Research Office. Together, they will outline the Army's science and technology priorities, explain how institutions can more effectively engage with Army research programs, and highlight pathways that connect faculty, students, and alumni to meaningful opportunities. This session will explore how the Army HBCU-MI program is fostering coordinated outreach, strengthening research teaming initiatives, and streamlining access to funding and partnership opportunities. Attendees will gain insight into current efforts to lower barriers to collaboration and will leave with a clearer understanding of practical next steps for building or expanding relationships with the Army research enterprise. By the end of today's discussion, participants will have a stronger grasp of the landscape of Army HBCU-MI engagement and the many avenues available to support impactful research, workforce development, and sustained institutional partnership. My name is Crystal Nolan. And before we begin, I'd like to let you know that at any time during this presentation, you can place questions in the Q&A feature of Zoom. Our presenters will address them during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions about using the Zoom platform during this event, please feel free to enter them in the chat window now. Technical support is on hand to help with any issues you may encounter. Finally, within the next few weeks, we will send everyone who registered a copy of the slides and a link to the webinar recording. This will allow you to revisit key parts of the presentation and Q&A or share the session with colleagues who may find it valuable. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Emery.
Thank you, Crystal, and welcome to all of the registrants to this session. As Crystal said, my name is Val Emery, and I have the distinct honor of partnering with Ivory Cheney to share this information with you. Just by way of background, this will be a two-part discussion. I will provide the opening comments, maybe the first 7 to 10 minutes of comments addressing just where we are as an Army in terms of HBCU, and give you also an oversight of the Army's S&T enterprise, because I think for many of us who have had some experience, the Army is a very large entity, very complex entity, and there are many opportunities and or organizations who perform science and technology that you may or may not be aware of. And so I try to give you some additional information about those. And before I begin with the first slide, the other thing that I like to do is encourage you to be thinking about whether you're faculty, whether you're a student, whether you are an administrator, think about how you fit into the Army's S&T construct, or think about it when Ivory presents uh, the some detailed programmatic information, what program will best fit your particular interest and or needs. So first slide, Ivory. So as we talk about this, no government presentation is ever complete without an organizational structure. This, what I'd like to show you, is the Army's S&T enterprise, and we are housed within the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Acquisition, Logistics, and Technology. We call it ASALT. The four principals you see pictured here are the ones who really have oversight and approval authority for all of the investments we make across the Army in science and technology. The Army has implemented or established an HBCU-MI program office that's housed within the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army for Research and Technology. That's the gentleman who's pictured to the right of your screen at the top. And our program office is responsible really for collecting and providing information to Army leadership about all of the activities we have taking place across the Army's S&T enterprise as it relates to engagements with and collaborations with the HBCU-MIs. When you look at that second panel, you see the principal organizations, the commands who are responsible for the execution of Army's S&T program. And you see the one on the left, Transformation and Training Command. It's a new command which was stood up last fall. Probably 80% or so of the Army's S&T portfolio, the budget, is housed within that particular command. And the unique thing about the Transformation and Training Command is that it's responsible for it generates, it develops, and designs its forces to enable operational readiness. And it's the command that's responsible for integrating technology and doctrine to make sure that our men and women who serve in uniform have everything that they need to establish operational overmatch. The second one you see is the Army Corps of Engineers. They have an Engineer Research and Development Center, and they are responsible for discovering, developing, and delivering innovative solutions for military engineering. That's construction on the military installations across the globe, civil works programs such as maintaining the navigability of the nation's waterways, geospatial research, and I know many of our campuses in the minority academic community have programs in geospatial research, and many of you also have an interest in environmental sciences, and the Corps of Engineers is the organizational entity that has the Army's environmental mission. The third entity is the Space and Missile Defense Command. That's a multifaceted, multi-component warfighting team, and that command develops critical space, high altitude, and air defense capabilities that will enable us to maintain overmatch of the nation's near-peer adversaries to deter, deny, and defeat any particular challenge. The last one that the command that I like to highlight is the Headquarters Department of the Army, and we call it G1 Personnel. And that's where the Army's Research Institute for Behavioral uh, and Social Sciences is housed. We get asked often, are there opportunities for research in the social sciences, or can the social science departments on our campus contribute to our programs? Absolutely. That command is responsible for um, uh, research and the development within personnel testing, as well as leader development platforms. Next chart. Geographically, this is where we are. You see, we have a very large footprint. The Army and S&T Enterprise has a large footprint. And the thing about this chart I really want to call to your attention is that we have 11 science and technology reinvention laboratories. And those laboratories play a critical role in spearheading the advancement of the Army's technological capabilities through science and technology collaboration with academia and with industry. So those being designated as a congressional designation of an STRL. And the unique thing about it being an STRL gives us great flexibility in our personnel management. And so it allows us to attract and retain exceptional talent through various demonstration projects. Next chart. These are some research priorities, but I think that when we talk about these, there are six that the Department of War has transitioned to. Applied artificial intelligence is one, and they want to be thinking about AI first and to revolutionize decision making and operational efficiency. Biomanufacturing is another one where we're going to try to harness living systems to produce critical capabilities and substances at scale that enhance our resilience. Um, Quantum and battlefield information dominance, where we can use quantum computing for advanced information processing and strategic advantage. Another one that we're interested in is scale directed energy, high power lasers, and microwave technologies for precision disruption and engagement. And finally, scaled hypersonics, where we are talking about developing hypersonic weapons for rapid response and strategic advantage. Next chart, please. So you got a quick, uh, I went over quickly some of the critical technologies as well as our organizational construct. So I'm transitioning now into some programmatic things that are happening across Army at a high level. And the X-Tech prize competition is one that you may not be aware of. And this one provides universities and faculty with a unique opportunity to foster some entrepreneurial kind of activities on your campuses. X-Tech is a program, and you see on the chart, it's primarily a national, but we have had several international competitions. You see the investments there, $23 million since fiscal year 18. But if you look at the box on the right that says 199, that's the number of follow-on contracts that have the participants in the X-Tech program have been able to receive, totaling of $183 million. So X-Tech is a program that I would invite you to explore. The website for X-Tech is located at the bottom of the slide. But what X-Tech is designed to do, it hosts prize competitions which connect businesses with Army and Department of War experts to build solutions for current problems. And these competitions are designed to get things accelerated and transitioned into the business community. Next chart. This is a program near and dear to my heart. This is a program that was expressly developed for minority faculty development, mentoring, and also designed to expand capabilities on your campuses. This is the faculty immersion program. It's a three-phase program that we fund over a 2-year period of time. Phase one invites the researcher from the HBCU campus to spend time at an Army laboratory for 10 weeks. And through that time period, you learn the Army language, you get exposed to some of the technologies and methodologies that we use. And you build a trusted relationship with the Army scientist or engineer. The second phase, after spending the time with us in the summer, you are you go back and you do a training and research proposal development session with an R1 researcher. And the thing that I didn't mention is that this is a three-way collaboration between an R1 institution, an Army laboratory, and you, the minority serving institution. So that when you leave us, you go to an R1 institution and you spend time there learning how they do it at the larger schools with larger budgets and larger research programs. The third stage, you come back to your institution, and the final 18 months of the 2-year award, you conduct research that has been generated. The project has been generated by the collaboration with the R1 and the Army Laboratory. We are in the process of creating a new announcement. I hope to have that announcement out later this spring. So those who are registered, they will get a notification of when we announce the new funding opportunity announcement for FY26. The website for the Army's HBCU-MI website is located at the bottom of this slide. Next chart, please. These are just some major opportunities. Ivory's going to go into a lot of detail on some specific programs, but these are things that I'd like to just call to your attention. The single investigator program, Ivory will talk a little bit about in one of her charts, but most of you are familiar with the term MURI. And MURI is a high risk, high reward research project. And the teams that are selected, I know that there's a big effort to get more minority institutions involved with the MURI program. So look to see how your team or your institution can respond to some of the MURI solicitations that are coming up. These are $1 million to $1.5 million awards for 3 to 5 years. The DURIP is a Defense Department of War Instrumentation Award. And finally, the PCASE, or the President Early Career Award. This is an award that if you are, or you're thinking about bringing in new faculty, this is a research award for those up and coming scientists or engineers to take advantage of. And you see it's $1 million award over 5 years. And will allow you to build some capability and infrastructure at your institutions if you're successful in securing one of these. Last slide, please. Last slide. So these are just some unofficial anecdotal comments from my years of experience working in this space. It's a contact sport. You got to spend time engaging with program managers in the Army Research Office, as well as researchers in the laboratories before submitting proposals. And I would ask you, when you get these funding opportunity announcements, or when you look at the broad agency announcements, please read them thoroughly and follow the guidance that's offered in those documents. So execution is really critical. That your obligation and disbursement rates are vital for us. And we want to make sure that you are successful. And so having a relationship with collaborators within the Army will get you there. So I'll stop here and allow Ivory to proceed, and I'll be able to answer any of your questions as we get to the end of our presentation. So thank you very much, and I look forward to some continued dialogue with you in the Q&A session.
Thank you, Val. I'll pick up from there. So I'm going to transition into some specific programs that the Army Research Laboratory and Army Research Office host to help universities, faculty, and students engage with the Army. The first set of slides are going to be on our summer research development programs. And the first up is our Research Associateship Program, or RAP. This program consists of 3 or 4 different programs that are combined under that umbrella. And the summer student experiences are postdoc opportunities and senior research opportunities for 1 year. And these experiences include mentorship, access to ARL laboratory stipends, insurance, travel allowance, and relocation assistance. And those stipend amounts vary by the level of experience of the participant. Next up is the summer internship program that is designed for students and recent graduates of HBCUs and MIs in STEM and defense relevant disciplines. It's a 10-week program, and it's designed to provide immersive research experience at departmental facilities nationwide. And those participants work directly with professional scientists and engineers on real projects at the forefront of innovation. And this program also includes stipend, relocation up to $900, travel to and from the research location, and housing. Dr. Emery spoke a little bit about one of the department's programs, the faculty immersion. Similar to that, we have one for students, which is Spark. And the Spark is the Department of, it's our version of the Department of War internship program. The requirements are very similar. However, these internships take place specifically at Army Research Laboratory locations throughout the country. And this opportunity is designed specifically for students who are interested in the national security field. Participants can be undergraduates or at the graduate level, and this program is hosted at both the University of Maryland and at ARL, and it also pays a stipend which differs between the university, between the student's level of education. And next up, we're going to talk a little bit about our military engagement programs. Those programs are open to students who are either participating in ROTC or attend senior military colleges. And the first of those programs is the ROTC Cadet Apprenticeship Program, or CAP. And like I said, this is specifically for ROTC students who wish to spend their summer training or that 6 weeks at an Army Research Laboratory working beside scientists and engineers. The housing, transportation, and pay for this program is coordinated through Cadet Command. So if you're interested in this type of program, you should contact the command and make sure that it follows along with your training schedule. For senior military colleges in general, for students attending those institutions, this opportunity provides opportunities for rising juniors and seniors for a 6-week research experience at ARL facilities. It does provide relocation up to $250, stipend, housing, and students get travel and the opportunity to present at the Research Technical Exchange in the fall. For faculty of senior military colleges, there's a 10-week program for those interested in conducting research and collaborating directly with ARL scientists and engineers. Like the student version, this program also provides relocation up to $250, provides housing, travel, participation in the symposium, and additionally, it provides research supply budget for the faculty participating. Now we're going to switch over to some of our fellowship programs. And some of these will sound very similar. The specifics will have to do with the level of education that each student has and what laboratories are participating. The first up is our Journeyman Fellowship, which is also under the RAP umbrella. And so for those students who have recently graduated or are currently undergraduate students, this opportunity allows you to be appointed to one of the ARL facilities. And each of our scientists who participates or advertises to host one of the students can provide specific details of the position they're offering. So the term of the award will vary, what project will vary, the amount of stipend will vary depending on what's being offered. Similarly, there's another RAP for postdoctoral fellowship. And so for those who have a master's degree with significant research experience or faculty with a doctorate degree, this opportunity allows faculty to have the opportunity to be appointed also at ARL facilities, and each POC, again, who advertises these positions has the opportunity to determine what the key aspects of the position are. Finally, for your senior research faculty positions, you also have a RAP available to you, and those can be up to a year long. And the application period is ongoing. You can participate at locations throughout the lab, and unlike the previous two programs, they do ask that you have a little bit more experience for these, but details, as I said, are provided by the person who is offering the position. And next up, this opportunity is specifically for the faculty, but like the others, it has a lot of the same specifications as those you've seen previously. And last but not least in this category of fellowships is the NASM, or National Academies of Science and Engineering Distinguished Fellowship. And it provides those who have PhD or SCDs in specific fields who are within 5 years of conferral the opportunity to be appointed at a ARL facility. And this opportunity also provides stipend, health insurance, travel, professional travel allowance. And this fellowship, unlike most of them, does not have a requirement for citizenship, but you must be able to complete a DoD clearance process. All right, and this is our Davies Postdoctoral Fellowship. This one is specifically for individuals who wish to teach at the United States Military Academy, or USMA, and conduct research at the lab. So you get both opportunities to teach at USMA and to do research at the lab. And these announcements are on USA Jobs. Unlike the rest of them, this is actually a job posting, and the appointments are up to 3 years. So compensation varies by position. So next, I'm going to talk about some of ARO's extramural outreach programs. These are the ones that I manage here at the Army Research Office. And this is 2 more charts that we'll go through. And the first up is our ARO HBCU-MI outreach program. We administered these programs in basic research. So when Dr. Emery mentioned the single investigator awards, some of these are considered single investigator awards. So we have 3 or 4 buckets here. We have the early career program, which, similar to PCASE, is designed for early career individuals who are at HBCUs and MIs. We have our research partnership awards, and those are for ARL research centers. And what happens is you come together with a few other schools similar to Amiri, but on a smaller scale. And we have, and those are for 5 years, same as our single investigators, and up to 5 of those get awarded. And we should have another round of those coming up in the near future. Please, always for these kind of announcements, look at our broad agency announcement. It's always open. And when we have other FOAs or announcements for funding, then we will let those who have participated or registered for these webinars know. Our centers of excellence for advanced basic research, and they are supposed to lead to a technology development. And those centers, those are also 5-year awards. It's typically 2 to 3 schools together working to try to have some type of breakthrough in science. And those, again, all of these are designed specifically for HBCUs and MIs. And they come through the Army Research Office and Army Research Lab, BAA. So please, if you have questions, as Dr. Emery said before, reach out to the program managers who are soliciting for these types of awards so they can help you. And next, last but not least, our Army Educational Outreach Program and our National Defense Science and Engineering Graduate Fellowships. For those here, the most relevant will be the undergraduate internships. Primary investigators who have a current ARO award are eligible to apply for add-on funding to pay for high school and university or undergraduate students to participate in your lab during research that you're conducting currently for the Army. These students are paid stipends, and we do allow for supply add-ons to that award. GEMS is not really applicable here, so I won't take time for that. But the National Defense Science and Engineering Graduate Fellowship is, like Dr. Emery said, near and dear to my heart. What it does is it allows undergraduates the opportunity to apply for graduate school to get their PhD. It's a 3-year award. There is no payback to the government. We just never see enough HBCUs and MI students apply. So we would love to see more students apply for that award. It does also include a stipend. It includes mentorship from a scientist or engineer, and it gives you travel award. You get to go to a research technical exchange where you get to see what the rest of your cohort is doing. And like I said, it's a great opportunity. It's fully funded for your tuition, and mentorship is there for you. We would love to have more applicants from HBCUs and MIs for that opportunity. And you all will get these slides, so you don't have to try to scan or click now, but all of these have QR codes for the programs. And if you want more information, please reach out to ARL_outreach at arl.army.mil. And with that, I will turn it back over to our hosts.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emery and Ms. Cheney, for those informative presentations. Now, we do have some questions. And our first question is, for this program, do faculty and students need to be U.S. citizens?
For the ones that I mentioned and the majority of the ones in our portfolio, U.S. citizenship is a requirement. And there are 2 reasons for that. One, it's our intent to have active engagements with you, not only at your institution, but we would like for you to spend some time with us in our laboratories and for you to be able to obtain a clearance and access our facilities. U.S. citizenship is really critical to that process. And most of the announcements will cite eligibility requirements. And I know for the faculty immersion program and several of the others that we talked about, U.S. citizenship is a requirement. The single investigator program is not, because the work is done on your campus. So there is no citizenship requirement for the work that's being done through the single investigator program. Ivory, any comment?
Yeah, and to add, the only one that I'm aware of was the NASM that I mentioned, the National Academies, does not require citizenship, but you do have to pass a DoD clearance screening.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So the next question is about the sharing of the presentations to those who are attending. And so those who have registered will receive the slides and a link to the webinar. If you've registered under someone else's name, then what we're advising you to do is that person can possibly share that information with you when they do receive that link for their registration. But the next question is, are there any Army priorities related to food safety, food quality, and or food product development?
So the Army critical technologies and priority areas, there are none in food, but the Army does have research in the food area done at the DEVCOM Natick Soldier Center in Natick, Massachusetts. And that organization is responsible for developing a lot of the technology, not the technology, but the foods that are used when soldiers deploy and everything. So the MREs and those types of things. So from caffeine gum to other types of things that the soldiers have, that is all done at the Natick Soldier Center. So if you have some specifics or need some specific contact information, you can either send an email to the link at the HBCU-MI website, Army HBCU-MI website, and I'll make sure to put a follow up with you with specifics about the food programs that we have in the Army.
Okay. Thank you for that answer, Dr. Emery. The next question is this also for R1 HBCU-MI institutions?
If the question is referring to the faculty immersion program, the faculty immersion program is for capacity and capability building expressly at minority serving institutions. But there is an active role in that collaboration for R1. So they can participate as a partner to the minority serving institution, and they can be compensated from that research award up to a certain percentage for mentoring the minority serving institution faculty, but they cannot apply for a faculty immersion award.
Understood. Now, Dr. Emery, I know that you just touched on the U.S. citizenship piece, but there is a question that's specifically tied to the faculty immersion program and U.S. citizenship. Would you like to speak on that?
That is a requirement in the faculty immersion. U.S. citizenship is a requirement in the faculty immersion program.
Okay, thank you. Now, there's another question here. This question is about the deadline. Accepting proposal deadline is July the 31st of this year, and the person wants you to clarify if that is correct because there may have been an error on the slide.
That is a typo. My
Okay.
bad. My apologies, folk. But we will update that and we will make sure that when the new FOA is out, all that information is correct. And all of you who registered will have access to that information in real time.
Wonderful. So this next question comes with a comment. The person wants us to know that, well, wants you all to know that this is a great program. And they want to know, are they able to bring students to participate in the faculty immersion program as well? And is there funding for this?
So, with respect to the faculty immersion program, the first um, award is exclusively for faculty, but we are in the process of implementing a second phase. So, faculty who participate in the immersion program will be able to bring students and to work for them once they've completed their project. Yes. So there is an opportunity to help mentor students in your technology area.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, the next question is, will there be an equivalent HBCU-MI single investigator or HBCU-MI early career program?
Yes, I see that that question was asked early in the webinar, but yes, we do have a HBCMI specific early career, and we do core matching or single investigator HBCMI program at ARO.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that. The next question is regarding the Spark program. And this person says that they attend UCSB, which is classified as a minority serving institution. And she wants to, well, the person wants to be certain that they are eligible to apply. They added a little additional information here. They said that they applied last year, but they were not selected. And they want to know if they are still, if they can still apply for this year.
Absolutely, they can apply. And sorry that they were not a part of the program last year. But yes, UCSB students, any minority serving institution is eligible to participate. Let me rephrase that. Students from a minority serving institution are eligible to apply to Spark, and they just have to meet the requirements that are listed in the announcement for Spark applications. There still is time. The application window closes next week. So there's 1 week left for any of your students who haven't heard of Spark to apply for this summer's internships.
Fantastic. Okay, we have another query here. This person says that last year they submitted a proposal to the HBCU-MI equipment instrumentation program, but they did not receive a response. They want to know if they will be looking to receive a response soon, if they should be looking for that.
So those awards are still being decided up at the Office of the Secretary of War, and they are expecting responses by mid-March.
Thank you for that, Ms. Cheney. Okay, we have a question about delivery. This person says that previous DevCom ARL webinars have been hosted to a YouTube channel, and they want to know if this session will be posted to YouTube as well. I think that would probably be a question for someone on our technical team to answer. I'm not
Well,
sure.
we will be archiving all of the webinars and we will make them available, I know, through the Army HBCU-MI uh, uh, website. And so that is a link that will be available to you all going forward. We don't just we will archive them, and so any past webinar that we've had is still available, and this will be available to you as well.
Well, there you go. All right, wonderful. Thank you for that, Dr. Emery. Our next question is, let's see, my screen is jumping around here. Okay, so this question is a twofold question, and it's about equipment and instrumentation. So the first part of the question is, when can applicants from last year's competition or the 2025 competition expect to hear results from their applications? And I know you just answered that in part. The second part of that is the same competition planned to be re-announced again this year?
Right. So for this program is typically either research or equipment. So they typically go between the two. So because last year was equipment, this year will probably be research. So it won't be exactly the same. And just to double down, they're expecting responses mid-March for the awards from 2025.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Cheney. Let's see, our next question is, do you have any programs that would support a multi-university research team led by an HBCU where the other schools aren't all HBCUs?
Go ahead, Ivory. You're ready.
This falls into our centers of excellence, the HBCU-MI centers of excellence. There are some that ARO has, and there are also some at the department level. So, and those are typically 5-year awards. ARO expects to announce another round of those later this year, hopefully by the summer. So that's a perfect opportunity. And for the department level, those will probably be next year because the cycle is not exactly the same.
The other thing that I would say is make sure that you read the solicitation simply because there are some subcontracting thresholds as in a lot of our awards. In other words, if we don't want the minority institution, if they're partnering with R1s to get the small amount of money, we want to make sure that there's an active role for all of the collaborators on a specific project. So typically, we require that there be some percentages assigned to each of the institutions in that collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you for that answer. So this next question is a bit of a comment and a question. And the person begins by thanking you very much for organizing this webinar. And it's been extremely helpful. And they truly appreciate the effort that the team puts into reviewing so many proposals. They also go on to say that as a junior faculty member, they wanted to raise a quick question, not a complaint, but a suggestion. And they were wondering, they wanted to understand how much work goes into the review process. In the fact that in other programs, when they have submitted proposals, they often receive written or panel feedback. And that input has been very helpful to them in improving future submissions. Now, they want to know for this program, in their experience submitting to this program, they have not received reviewer comments, and they're wondering whether there might be any possibility of providing feedback in the future. And again, they say they do greatly appreciate the work that you all are doing.
The I know in the basic research programs and the program managers at ARO, they are oftentimes overwhelmed with proposals and in the review process. But my experience has been that if you reach out to those individuals, they will respond and give you some direct feedback in terms of your proposal and the kinds of recommendations or suggestions for next steps or submitting future proposals. So we will work that, and that is something that you're not. This audience is not the first audience to mention that to Army at the Army level, and that's something that has been communicated to Army leadership. So we will address this for future solicitations and processes going forward.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so the next question is, are there any opportunities to serve as a reviewer for Army proposals?
That's a question also that I know Army leadership has said that they would like to, and this is something that's been in the hopper for 2 years. We just have to figure out what that process is going to be to reach out to get reviewers from some of our minority institutions involved in the process. So that is something that is very important to us, and we look forward to including you in those processes.
Okay, thank you. Moving right along, will ARO or DOW still support the HBCU-MI research equipment in this year and upcoming years? I guess that's
Each
the equipment initiative.
so each year, um, we have very we have very finite budgets. And a lot of times, leadership, when they look at it, we look at whether or not, let me say it this way, capacity building is important to us and capabilities is important. But we try to be flexible in our programs. To each year we might have a certain set of research programs. We might have the primary supporter of instrumentation is the Department of War, the HBCU-MI program office at the Department. Army has not. We might include it in the solicitation, say the equipment can be a part of the proposal. But typically, we do not, from a corporate Army perspective, have instrumentation awards. Now, Avery, I don't know whether you can say whether ARO does equipment itself, but corporate Army, that is not something that we're looking at right now.
No, we don't do any type of REP at the ARO level. That's OSD, OSW that does that award.
Thank you for that. The next question is there any restriction on the number of proposals that can be submitted per institution for DURIP, the DURIP program?
Again, that will be something that the solicitation will tell you. There have been proposals that don't limit, and then there are some that says only one per institution or two per institution. So you would have to look and see what's specified in that particular solicitation.
Thank you. There's another question about reaching out to PMs. The person wants to know what's the best way to contact PMs for ARO. And what, if there's no response, what should they do?
I'll take that one. If you want to reach out to me, I can see if I can help with it. Again, our PMs get a lot of unsolicited email, and so sometimes it's hard uh, to to go through all of those messages. But I would also suggest, especially if you're cold emailing a program manager, bottom line up front, no really long email. Maybe say what your list of ideas are up front. Get your key message out, and give them a reason to respond. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. And there's a similar, a related question again about reaching out to program managers. And this person wants to know specifically if you could help connect them with the appropriate program manager.
Yeah, I mean they can email me. I'm pretty sure my email is part of this, and I'll do my best to help you.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. And let's see, we have another question. This question is, could any of these programs be used to scale an existing summer STEM research program at this particular person's HBCU to create a pipeline for some of these amazing student opportunities? This person also comments that with their students, sometimes even the application to these opportunities can be intimidating.
So what I would suggest is that you reach out to me in the HBCU-MI program office, and I have no problem with having a direct conversation about this. And if there are ideas that you can provide us with that may stimulate new programs or new opportunities for you all, we're open to review it and discuss it. So please contact me with any ideas or recommendations that you might have to enhance the Army's HBCU-MI program.
Okay, thank you. Now, this next question is, are there any priorities related to biomaterials development in biomedical applications?
Yeah, biomanufacturing. I kind of touched on it very quickly early on, but biomaterials is very important to and biomanufacturing. So yes, there is an interest in those, and we also talk. We have a very robust presence in synthetic biology. So those two types of things are important. And if there are some specific ideas or specific interests that you might have, just send me a note, and I'll put you in contact with the people who can give you more detailed information about it. I'm not a bioscientist. I'm a chemist by training.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Emery. This next question is, Is there a specific ARL that conducts research on spectral materials of uniforms and helmets that reduce heat stress?
That's a two-part question. I don't know where in ARL, but I do know, again, the Native Soldier Center does that. And there are components of the Army Research Laboratory in the materials side that do some of the materials research. So I would need to know a little bit more about that. And the risk for doing webinars and having discussions is that ultimately gets to a specific individual's interest. And it's hard to address those things without having some
Mhm.
information. So again, just send me a note and I'll see what I can do to connect you with people who do research in that area.
Okay, wonderful. And so now we have a question about the X Tech competition. For the X Tech competition, how are the businesses engaged in this competition? Does the Army recommend businesses, or can an institution bring on board their own business partner?
The XTech program is pretty flexible on how to do it. And that program office, again, they design specific competitions and their criteria for each of the competitions that they conduct. And it starts with I can't remember the term that they use, but it starts with a pitch. They do pitches about the technology that you want to offer, and then those pitches turn into some other types of engagement with businesses, and ultimately you're asked um, to and supported to do the research. But on the Army X-Tech program, there was a website, it's in the slides, and those PMs that run the X-Tech program are available to conduct it. And they're looking for minority academic institution partners. They think entrepreneurship is the next forefront for revenue generation on your campuses, as well as a quick way to get involved with Army research.
Wonderful. I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions. So there's a question that has come in. Can only junior faculty participate in the faculty
Yeah,
immersion program or
yes.
full
Only
professors?
it's expressly for junior faculty.
Gotcha. Copy
and
that.
and and there is a oh, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember what the timeline is that we have we have in there, but there is a timeline. We're looking for faculty who are new and trying to establish careers and build a research capacity on their campuses because a lot of times they come in with no funding for laboratory development.
Wonderful. And that does appear to bring us to the time that we do need to close out this webinar. We do want to thank all of the attendees who submitted questions. We will provide contact information for Dr. Emery and Ms. Cheney at the end of the webinar so that you can forward those questions and move those discussions ahead with them, or they can direct you to the proper person. So with that,
Crystal,
yes,
one
absolutely.
last thing from me. I
Sure.
really would encourage the audience to look at the Army's HBCU-MI website because there's a format in there for specific questions as well as a lot of detailed information about the Army's S&T enterprise. And we're in the process of updating that now because of the change in command and some other things. But at least you can get some of your basic questions answered or responded to through that vehicle.
Understood. Thank you so much for adding that piece, Dr. Emery. That is going to be very, very valuable to those who are participating today and their colleagues. So with that, we're going to wrap up the Q&A session for today. On your screen, you'll find contact information for Dr. Emery and Ms. Cheney and the Army Research HBCU-MI Program Office. We encourage you to take a photo or note the details so you can follow up with any additional questions or continue the conversation after the webinar. Once again, we'd like to extend our gratitude to Dr. Valen Emery, the Outreach Program Manager with DevCom Army Research Laboratory, and Ms. Ivory Cheney, Program Manager for Educational Outreach and the National Defense Science and Engineering Graduate Fellowship within the Extramural Cross Competency Program Integration Branch at the DevCom Army Research Office. And of course, thank you, the attendees, for joining us today to learn more about how the Army HBCU-MI program is expanding engagement and creating pathways for meaningful collaboration with historically Black colleges and universities and minority serving institutions. This concludes our presentation. Have a great rest of your day and goodbye for now.